My goodness, part one of the Stories Julian Tells, chapter one, was so intense. What do you think is going to happen next? Their father found them, but will they get in big trouble? Will their father forgive them? Will they have to admit to what they did to the pudding? Let's keep reading to find out. Welcome back to part two of the Stories Julian Tells, chapter one. Where we last left off, Julian and his younger brother Huey were hiding under the bed from their father because their father had discovered that the boys had eaten the pudding that their father had made for their mother. Let's continue reading to see what happens next. "What do you have to tell me?" he said. We went outside," Huey said, "and when we came back, the pudding was gone." "Then why were you hiding under the bed?" my father said. We didn't say anything. We looked at the floor. "I can tell you one thing," he said. "There is going to be some beating here now. There is going to be some whipping." The curtains at the window were shaking. Huey was holding my hand. "Go into the kitchen," my father said. "Right now." We went into the kitchen. "Come here, Huey," my father said. Huey walked toward him, his hands behind his back. "See these eggs?" my father said. He cracked them and put the yolks in a pan and set the pan on the counter. He stood a chair by the counter. "Stand up here," he said to Huey. Huey stood on the chair by the counter. "Now it's time for your beating," my father said. Huey started to cry. His tears fell in with the egg yolks. "Take this," my father said. My father handed him the egg beater. "Now beat those eggs," he said. "I want this to be a good beating." "Oh," Huey said. He stopped crying and he beat the egg yolks. "Now you, Julian, stand here," my father said. I stood on a chair by the table. "I hope you're ready for your whipping." I didn't answer. I was afraid to say yes or no. "Here," he said, and he set the egg whites in front of me. "I want these whipped and whipped well." "Yes, sir," I said, and started whipping. My father watched us. My mother came into the kitchen and watched us. After a while, Huey said, "This is hard work." "That's too bad," my father said. "Your beating's not done." And he added sugar and cream and lemon juice to Huey's pan and put the pan on the stove, and Huey went on beating. My arm hurts from whipping," I said. "That's too bad," my father said. "Your whipping's not done." So I whipped, and Huey beat and beat. "Hold that beater in the air, Huey," my father said. Huey held it in the air. "See?" my father said. "A good pudding stays on the beater. It's thick enough now. Your beating's done." Then he turned to me. "Let's see those egg whites, Julian," he said. They were puffed up and fluffy. "Congratulations, Julian," he said. "Your whipping's done." He mixed the egg whites into the pudding himself. Then he passed the pudding to my mother. "A wonderful pudding," she said. "Would you like some, boys?" "No, thank you," we said. She picked up a spoon. "Why, this tastes like a whole raft of lemons," she said. "This tastes like a night on the sea." That is the end of our first story on the Stories Julian Tells. Tune in next time where we read our second story titled Catalog